Hi, I'm Jan Helfeld, and I'm going to give you an analysis of the second presidential debates. The first points are basically the same as the ones I made in the first presidential debate. This is not a debate. It's mediated by a town hall questions and by the moderator, and the biases of the town hall questioners and the moderator seep in. So it's not really a real debate where the people ask each other questions and they determine what questions should be asked. As a result, you always get some biases, some more interruptions, more time for the Democrat as usual, but that wasn't really very important in this debate. The more important thing is that the candidates, as I said before, do not express explicitly what their principles are, so it's hard to determine exactly what they think and what they will do in the future. And basically, there's just a marginal difference between both candidates, a difference in degree. So let's deal with the main issue here, which is how to create the jobs. President Obama says that the government does not create jobs. He says he doesn't really believe that. But when you ask him, how are you going to create the jobs? What's his plan? His plan is to create more jobs with more teachers, more police, more firemen, which, by the way, none of which are the responsibility of the federal government. This is a function of the state government, but the federal government has been encroaching by what? By trying to create these jobs to get votes. So now the federal government wants to create these, what usually under our constitutional system would be state jobs. So that's what he does. Or he says he has shovel-ready jobs, but then they turn out not to be shovel-ready. These are government jobs. The teachers' jobs are government jobs. They're created by the government. So he does believe that the government creates the jobs. He's going to create green jobs. How? By subsidizing with government money certain enterprises. So he does, again, the government is creating the jobs. And so on all of these issues, when it comes to bailing out companies that are going bankrupt, how does he bail them out? He uses government money to bail them out. So he takes the money from the taxpayers, gives it to the failed companies to create these jobs in bankrupt companies. So in all these cases, really, when you ask him how is he going to create jobs, he's going to create them by the government taking money from the taxpayers, from the people that produce the money, and giving it to the people that he wants, and then he claims that he created those jobs. So that's the real truth about his view on who creates jobs. Yeah, he believes the government creates jobs. That's why he proposed a stimulus. Now, he says that he believes that the government doesn't create jobs, but that everybody deserves a fair shot and everybody should play by the same rules. Now, let's examine these two statements, because it's very interesting. They are the ones that he's going to use to contradict his first principle that the government does not create jobs. What does he mean by the everybody deserves a fair shot? Well, he means redistribution of wealth. He means that some people who are disadvantaged in his view, or should be favored for other reasons, are going to get government money from the people that are producing the jobs in the free market, that are producing the wealth in the free market. So a fair shot means not equality under the law, which is the way our country was originally founded, where everybody's supposed to be equal under the law. That means the law applies the same to all people. No, that's not what he means. He means equality of condition. So if some people have an advantage, like they're wealthier, they're smarter, they're handsomer, or whatever, he's going to try to equalize that. How? By taking from the ones that have and giving to the ones that he says have less, to create equality of condition. Now, these are two opposite principles that are contradictory and cannot live consistently in the same mind, but apparently they do in his. Now, what else did he say? He said that everybody should play by the same rules. Really? So is that why the first 2% of income producers should pay 40, 50, 100 times more than the other people? Like Romney paid how many millions in taxes? Several million. How much did Obama pay? Or how much did Obama's secretary or Buffett's secretary pay? A few thousand she paid? So that's the same rule? So one guy has to pay millions and the other guy pays a few thousand? Or worse, zero income tax. 47% of the people in the United States pay zero income tax. That's the same rule? One guy pays zero, the other guy pays millions? That's the same rules? This is not the same rules. In fact, he believes exactly the opposite. Everybody should not play by the same rules. There should be some rules for some people and a different rule for others. And that filters in to other issues like whether you're black or you're a woman or whatever. No, you can't play by the same rules. No, we want special rules for you. That's what affirmative action is, and he supports those programs. That means that everybody doesn't play by the same rules. We need advantages for some and disadvantages for others. Fundamentally, this is in contradiction with his claim that he doesn't believe that the government creates jobs. Yes, he does. And he believes that it's the government's function to be involved in producing more jobs and creating a prosperous economy. Unfortunately, he tried this and he had total control, something that Romney forgot to mention. He had total control of the Congress for 2 years. And guess what? He passed a big stimulus, he passed the Dodd-Frank bill, etc. But it did not produce prosperity because that will not, his philosophy, his view will not produce prosperity. Now, what's the third way you can really get to what he really thinks? He says that Romney is in favor of the folks on the top, the first 2%. All the Republicans want policies that favor the rich, the first 2%, and so they're against the other 98%. So really, you really believe that? Can you really get away with something as ridiculous as that? Why would 50% of the American people vote for something that is in favor of not them, but the 2%? Well, obviously, because they think that the philosophy that Romney is espousing will create more jobs, more prosperity, and ultimately it will be good for them, even though they don't penalize the rich any more than they're being penalized right now, whereas Romney pointed out the rich pay, the first 5% pay 60% of all the income tax. Now, that's not fair. They're not paying their fair share. They have to pay more than that? So this has nothing to do with his statement, of playing by the same rules or whatever. Ultimately, you can see that there is a difference in philosophy, even though Romney is not completely consistent, and both of them regarding, in regards to their foreign policy, not their foreign policy, but their import-export policy, their free trade policy, they both want to do import substitution. Apparently they don't either understand comparative advantage. They don't understand why trade is good, and when the other country sells you cheap goods, that's good for our country. They don't understand that, and they want to create jobs by putting up tariffs, and which is import substitution. That won't create jobs, and if they do that, what will happen is there will be less exports, not more, because the other countries will retaliate, etc. So on other issues, they're inconsistent with this philosophy. In the case of Romney, of being a free market and being in favor of the individuals producing the jobs. But generally speaking, that's the difference between them. Romney is more in favor of accepting the fact and basing his policies on the fact that the individual produces the wealth. The government's job is just to run the rules, make sure that the individual's rights are not violated, that there is no fraud or thievery or breaking of contracts, etc. That is the function of the government when you have a limited government. So stay tuned for more interesting interviews, and that's my basic analysis.